Hey Sagittarians, how y'all doing? Welcome. We're going to be taking a look at your Scorpio season messages here. As you can see, we have the Death Key holding down home court here, but of course for Scorpio season. So we're going to be taking a look at all of the thematic elements of, the opportunities of Scorpio season. So we're going to be taking a look at what's coming up to be released in your life. And then what do you get? What is the gift out of releasing it? And then your advice moving forward. So Scorpio season, again, is very much about holding up for review what is expired and time to let go of in favor of newness, or what is expired that is coming up for refurbishment or to breathe new life into, right? Because it's about endings and beginnings. So let's take a look at where you are now, Sagittarius. Where are you during Scorpio season? Where are you at? Oh, yes, Sagittarius. Sounds good to me. Sign me up. So you are the Three of Cups for Scorpio season. Brilliant. So this speaks of a lot of reason for celebration, the enjoyment. I like that you're coming up as the cups as well because, Scorpio season is water, right? Scorpio is a water sign, so I like that. It feels like you are in and of the season. Also, we're going into Samhain or Halloween at the end of October, and we have all these pumpkins here as well, which are giving me those vibes. So I really like it. It feels like you're in a place where you have, a good support system or a real cause to celebrate and at least enjoy your current life and enjoy, the people around you and enjoy all of the aspects of your experience that feel, because it is water energy, really good to you. So where you are is having a good time. Okay, Sagittarius. Let's take a look at what's coming up to be released. I love that. Three Cups is like good news, reason to celebrate, cause to party, all that good stuff. Whoa, Sagittarius. Okay, interesting. So what's coming up to be released is you as a king. So King of Wands energy. Again, this is fire energy representing your fire sign selves. So let's talk about the King of Wands and why we might want to release him or release aspects of him. So the Wands are about, yes, the actions that we do or don't take around the work that we love to do, around our interpersonal relationships of which we are passionate, but they also speak to our soul, our core belief system, what gets us up in the morning, what lights our own personal fire and keeps it ablaze, right? Because the wands, correlate to our soul speak, right? Now, the King of Wands as an archetype is a master of timing. He knows when to move and when to be still. He knows what to say yes to and what to say no to. But he also very much represents this aspect of self that feels like he has done it all, seen it all. He's at the end of his current cycle, right? The king is at the end of the cycle, right? There's only one place to go. Like after you're king, you've risen to the top. There's nowhere else to go except it's, when it's time to die, and then you're born again and the cycle starts again as the page, right? So I feel like what's coming up to released is an aspect of yourself that feels like you either, and I say this with love, that you've seen it all before or you know it all, that you have all the information. I feel like this is saying open yourself up to that Page of Wands energy, which is curious and asks questions and has, a limitless imagination and potential for things that could be that maybe you hadn't previously considered, right? So I feel like this is releasing that aspect of you that feels like it's at the end of something or feels like you've reached your own personal precipice of what you do and saying, no, maybe there's room for improvement. I'm getting that funny image of like, that trope in TV and film or in a play where there's like this person at a job who's been doing the job for 30 years and they know it all and you can't tell them anything. And then they hire like the youngin just out of business school, and they have all these crazy new ideas about how to bring the company into the new age. But the old guy's just like, no, this is how we've always done it. So I feel like that's what's coming up for you around this, is releasing any thoughts or belief systems around, the feeling like how things have been done is the way that things should always be, or that there's not room for growth or learning something new or relearning something that you've learned before, right? It's like room for improvement. There's always being an eternal student, right? That's you guys in your light side. So I feel like this is a call to return to that aspect of yourself, or to consider options or pathways that maybe you haven't before, that maybe feel less familiar, less safe, or less comfortable for you. But you know what they say? Abundance exists only outside of your comfort zone, right? Okay, let's take a look at what you get as a result of releasing this King of Wands, right? What do you get out of it? I literally, Sagittarius, I just got shivvies. King of Pentacles is what you get as a result of releasing your King of Wands? Well, hello. This is really interesting because King of Pentacles is very, filthily rich, very, very wealthy, right? He's so wealthy that he can't give away his wealth quickly enough as he gets it, right? It's that sort of belief, it's being such a magnet, being such a likeness to the energy of abundance that it's to an excess amount, right? Now, what's interesting about this is I feel like your greatest monetary and physical, remember, Pentacles are about, yes, your physical money and your physical home, but they're also about your physical health and how much you enjoy your physical day-to-day experience, because the King of Pentacles is about the day-to-day, right? He's about the day-to-day choices and action that amount to long-term planning, right? But he gets there in a present-based day-to-day moment, because there's that aspect of you need to water that garden on a consistent basis and tend to it every single day, right? And you do that enough, and then suddenly it's a garden in bloom, and you get to reap that harvest and eat a bunch of grapes or whatever it is for you. So I feel like your highest potential in terms of your health and your wealth lie on the other side of you releasing old ways of doing things or old belief systems and being willing to switch it up or see something differently or do things differently. This could come as a result of a collaboration or speaking with friends or getting inspired by other people and going, you know what, let me try that. Like, I'm seeing the image of listening to a TED Talk. If a King of Wands shows up to a TED Talk, he's not going to get that much out of it because he's going to be thinking, I know all this. Or like, come on, that's not how you do it, right? Whereas think about the Page of Wands showing up to a TED Talk and going, oh, that's an interesting idea. That's interesting. That's interesting. That makes me think of this. Let me go ask questions. Let me think about this, right? And I feel like that is the energy that's going to get you to this King of Pentacles, where the abundance is going to be on a level that is shocking. Is the only word for it. Shocking. But it feels really exciting. Look at all this. Look at all the yellow and blue, right? It's really, really exciting. So let's go ahead and get your advice, Sagittarius. Advice for, oh, really? Judgment. Wow. This is the only major arcana that you have received in this spread. So major arcana speaks of a fated or destined energy, whereas all of the minors, if you see something you don't like, you can shift it, right? The minors are suggestions and the majors are statements. So your advice being judgment is really, really interesting, because this speaks, the tagline for this key is look back with pleasure. And there's also an aspect of this when this comes through as your advice is trusting that your judgment is sound. Trusting that everything from the past has gotten you to where you are and that you can learn from it, but that it should not dictate where you're going. You know what I mean? The king looks to the past just as much as he looks ahead, because again, he's at the end of his cycle. So he is closer to the end of his life than, the beginning, which means that he looks at the past a lot. Look at how he's looking like to the past, right? So it's interesting here. He's actually, in your spread, he's actually looking at the death key, the skeleton there. He's reviewing his life, right? More maybe in this case than he's like looking at what's to come. So this with judgment is just saying, like, look back with pleasure, know that the past is not prologue, and trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be, and that everything that you have done, every choice that worked out, every choice that didn't, every success, every failure, everything has gotten you to where you are, and that's all it is. It's just lessons learned and it's information, but it does not need to dictate what comes next, because you have yet to receive or tap into your highest and best, because that is yet to come with this King of Pentacles energy, right? So pat yourself on the back. There's no right judgment. There's no wrong judgment. There's only what has been, and trusting that you have everything you need inside of you to move forward and do the best that you can every day with all of the information at your disposal. And the way to do that is to adopt that page curious newbie energy. It's really beautiful, Sagittarius. I'm very excited for you. It's a very exciting spread. So with that being said, I'm sending you so many blessings for Scorpio season. Thank you so, so much for being here. And most of all, and as always, just thank you for being you, and be well. Until next time.